You're listening to the Wicked Theory Podcast.
We're very happy to have you back, even for a short visit.
And here we go.
Ahoy, mateys! We're broadcasting to you live from aboard a strange vessel headed to Candle Cove. This is the Wicked Theory Podcast. Ooh, hey, kids, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hey, how you doing? Hey, all right. So this is going to be a weird one. Let's see who we got around here.
We start with Dom. Is Dom here? We have.
Well, yeah, that's true. That guy's been. No,
he's still not around.
All right. And then
next victim.
Well, we got you.
Yeah,
well,
I'm
hey,
here, but who's me? Who's me?
Your brother Bob. My brother Bob. I'm Bill Sweeney.
Right. We're both here.
This whole thing was my bad idea. And brother Bob's live on guitar. He plays an instrument just for you.
Besides
and then hanging out with us.
Yes. Well, where's?
Oh wait, normally we have Ed here. All right, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Let's bring Palmer into the room. Agent Palmer, cleanup pitcher for or batter
for Negan Sluggers.
Yeah, something like that.
For all podcasts.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
doing
not going to
today.
give you the womp womp on the end because you're coming in. You're saving us.
That's it.
Did I lose you, buddy? I think I lost him. I'm not sure. I might have.
No, I'm still here.
You're still
the
there.
official-
Okay, I see what's going on. I'm looking at myself for some reason because I'm sexy. Yeah.
Would you like some updates?
Okay, so let me put this out there. Ed had some car trouble. He's on the road. I think he's hitchhiking or something. But
not just
he's
not just some car. His car.
That's true. That's true. And he's at the mercy of the modern day saint known as the tow truck driver.
The New York tow truck driver.
And this tow truck driver has a name.
Oh well, let's hear. So Palmer's been getting the updates for the last few minutes on Ed's status. He's not going to make it here, but he is going to end up checking in with us at some point so that we can know that he is safe and sound.
His driver's.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
His driver's name is Singh. He has nice
just like
hair
a taxi cab
and is
driver.
struggling to find a route that does not involve parkways. They have left the parking lot.
Yeah, so
that's what I've got. That's up to date.
I forget exactly where the hell he was too. If he on what area he was.
He was in
Go ahead.
Erskine Avenue at the Home Depot.
Erskine. I thought that was just
in Brooklyn.
No, yeah. I thought that was just in Brooklyn. Well, that might make a connection now. See, because I was going to say all I know is Erskine from Captain America. I believe that was the scientist who did the whole
And that's why they named a street after him in Brooklyn.
It went in that direction. See, I was thinking, that's where they picked the name from. But I like what you're saying better. Yeah. That the scientist was so famous here in the real world that they were like,
yeah, we got to name the street.
We got to name the street after something. What's a Marvel reference we can make? Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. So yeah, suffice to say, the show is off the rails already from before we got into play here. It was all looking good.
Ask,
oh, yeah, sure. What would you like to ask?
How many times have you started a show that stayed on the rails through the intro?
Well, through the intro, there's got to be some, right, Bill?
I do not understand the question. Rephrase the question.
when shows that lasted that went well through the intro.
That
half of my guitar playing.
It depends on what you want to chalk it up
time.
to. Well, that's kind of where I was leaning. It depends on how you want to chalk it up. But this was the first time that I feel like we were getting close to being ready to go, and something kind of in the last minutes threw it for a loop a little bit. Usually, it's more like the day before something doesn't work out, or we lose somebody, or something like that.
I'm gonna get laid tomorrow. I'm not gonna be there.
You know, and so I don't know if we lost Palmer. Palmer, you there, buddy?
Nope. I'm
there.
still here.
Okay, something changed on the Skype. It shifted over. All right, so but let's do some official business real quick. Get it out of the way. This is episode 80. We're going to get to a little bit of meanwhiles, although Ed's not here. I'll talk about what I got. There's some news. I think there's like 1 or 2 emails we'll get to. But if you're listening to us right now live on Mixlr, you've already won half the battle because that's where we do the show live every week, every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you sign up or use Facebook to sign in, you can get into the chat and chat with everybody and hang out in there and annoy each other or make friends, whatever it is you feel like doing.
And give us lots of hearts.
And give us lots of hearts. We need some more hearts. We need, not that we need love necessarily, but that's just like, that's the likes. That's the thing on Mixlr. It's hearts. So we need you guys to like, come through hard with the hearts. We need hardcore heart action on this one. So sign up, get in the chat, and then look for the button to follow us on Mixlr right there in the chat room. And you will get notifications every time that we go live. Just in case you forget.
You have to sign up, log in, and then look for us.
Right.
And follow us.
Right, there you go. And that's the way to do it.
Yeah, otherwise you will not get the notifications.
Yeah, you just won't get the notifications, and then sometimes you'll be like, oh, hey, I forgot that you guys were on, and that's why we got notifications. Yep. So let's jump into some real quick Patreon business. Bob, I think...
Ooh, what's new there?
Keep it going, Bob.
I wasn't aware that we were going to be doing anything with Patreon, so I was trying to remember.
No, fair enough.
I was trying to remember O Tannenbaum, and I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Patreon.
I can't remember the words.
I wrote words to this. Patreon song.
I wrote words to this. I got them in my room. I got to find them in my bedroom.
So, noted. What we'll do is, Palmer, can you make that happen? Can you make that happen?
Yeah.
All right, make that happen. So Grant Markham's knocking at the door, it seems.
Oh, Grant.
And while
I like Grant's
while I usually frown on more chaos, not necessarily him, but just, another layer of it, like right now, because I was in a place, I was doing a thing. We'll let him into the mix. Palmer's going to set that up.
Okay.
And bring in our buddy Grant Markham.
Normally I like Grants because Grants usually mean free money, but not
this one. No. You're not getting free money from him.
No.
He's got a family.
I do have another Ed update.
Another live Ed update. Oh my God, it's Beth.
So
I got your wife here, man.
Oh, that's it. Start spilling.
Or am I supposed to keep this quiet? Is she muted or something? Maybe she's muted. I don't know. Oh! Here he comes. Here he comes now.
What?
Oh, there's a fight.
I was on Skype with him.
Oh, I wish people could see it at home. They're fighting.
You know what?
They're fighting. Oh, this image was so nice and cute and beautiful, and now it's hairy, and there was a struggle in the seat. Beth is gone. She was just a placeholder, I guess. And here comes Grant Markham. Grant Markham, ladies and gentlemen, from the Stranger Conversations and 7 Days a Geek podcasts.
That's me.
Yay, Grant. Was she
I don't
fixing?
even know how I ended up on your show at this very minute. I went to use the restroom, and then I came in here, and there you were.
I don't understand. So what do we... You have a producer on your end making things happen? Maybe Palmer
Yes, Beth is my new producer.
Or maybe it's just that Palmer is the producer for your show, one of your shows.
I actually was listening to you live on Mixlr.
How was it going? How was it going? We're 8 minutes in
until it
started.
No, it's going great till it went off the rails.
I don't know how to get the train back on. That's always the thing. How do you get this big locomotive?
So what I ended up having to do was I was calling Palmer feverishly, and I was trying to get him to tell you I'm available if you don't have people on the show. Well,
if you want to hang out for a little while, you can hang out because I know that you actually have a little bit that you can talk about on one of my things in my Meanwhile section. I know you're chomping at the bit, and if you heard the opening line this week, which you may have missed. It's quite the hint. But let me wrap up. We got Patreon business we have to get to real quick, which is actually kind of important. And Grant, I guess you're involved in this on some level. So,
Yeah,
so
I
last
think you got
week.
the idea to do Patreon from Grant doing Patreon for his show, didn't you?
Yeah, well, for 7 Days a Geek, they run an account over there. So if anybody wants to help them out, you can always help them
Bill,
out too.
I think just rip it off.
I'm trying. So last week during the show, we put we mentioned Patreon all the time, and actually Quadcast Courtney came out during the show and helped to push us just $1 shy of the roast episode. But then Thomas Kirk came through and brought us all the way up to $80, ladies and gentlemen. The roast episode is going to happen. It's going to happen in January at some point. I don't know if it's early January, late January. Don't know exactly all the logistics just yet, but people you've heard on this show will come back.
Is January.
The one thing we know for sure, something's going to happen in January.
Right now, this is gonna,
some kind of roastification.
Are we going to do
sorts.
this as a regular episode, or are we going to do this as an extra episode?
That's what I'm saying, Bob.
That we're going to put out.
We have to have a meeting. We have to have a meeting and figure all this out. So, like, as in who will be there? Or how do we make sure we can schedule all this for whoever's maybe if anybody's going to be Skyped? Right. If that's even going to be an aspect of it? There are definitely some things to kind of have a conversation about. But I think January, even if we still takes us a week to kind of solidify what the plan is, I think that gives people enough time to drum up their material.
It's post
if they have to write stuff.
Right. It's post holidays, so
yeah, I'm thinking maybe
towards the end of the month would be better for everybody.
It probably would. To be honest with you,
after all the insanity of the holidays.
It's an excellent point. Excellent point.
It'll be nice to blow off all that steam towards Bill.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to put it somewhere. You got sometimes you just got to vent. So, Grant, in some capacity or form, that door will be open to you. It will be open to Palmer.
I've already got all my bits written. Are you kidding me?
Oh, you've been working on this since I first announced it as an option on the Patreon.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I've got notebooks filled. People might not even need to show up. I've got it covered.
That's why I got
Just
you.
kidding. I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't know how to roast someone like you.
Well, I think.
Well, hold on. You know what? Since he's not here, you can always take a shot at everybody else on the dais. So just put Ed in your sights, and you should go far.
Oh, well, now there's a wealth of material.
well, there you go. There's a guy you already feel all right ripping on.
That's so easy too.
You know what? I always feel good about doing my shtick and giving people a hard time until I actually meet them, or they do something that I find to be creatively inspiring.
Right.
And after Ed's interaction with Podtoberfest and the work that he did and what he brought to the show, it's like, how do you tease or make fun of a guy like that anymore? Because like there's a connection there now that I respect. I think Palmer, like the minute I saw Palmer and gave him a hug, I'm like, I respect you too much now to actually give you crap.
I felt you in my arms. You delicate flower. No, but I watched that happen with you, with Palmer, when he actually, after a while, it became a thing where, like, I remember you saying, like, now we're friends. I can't, the razzing isn't the same anymore. Like, I'll say stuff and then I feel bad for it afterwards. Whereas that used to not be the case. I used to be like, well, I'll just give you a hard time. Like, you know what I mean? Which is always the best way.
Sure.
Guilt-free hard time.
So,
yeah.
Bill, I have a message from Ed.
Yes, let's hear it.
It says, please assure the listeners
Yeah.
that while I haven't eaten anything since a mini bagel at 9:30 this morning, they should not worry. Mom has ordered me Chinese food for when I finally make it home.
Well, that's nice. Because that was my concern.
The quest for home.
That's what, the quest for home. Oh, God bless him if this guy gets there.
Is he like I? Just you saying that instantaneously, and I know you'll hate this, Bill, because you don't like the show, and I agree for the most part. But you just totally pictured Wallowitz from The Big Bang Theory, like that's Ed and his mom. Like when you go over to his house, have you ever met his mom or seen her? Or is she just yelling, "I got you Chinese down here, Ed"?
I know that's Dom's mom. I know Dom's mom is like that, where it's like, I got grilled chicken and rice for you in a container. I know it's your favorite, Let me tell you something. There's a place. I don't want to get into it. It's food stuff. We're gonna get this off the rails. So let's So let's just wrap up the Patreon business by saying that that's going to happen. It's going to be January. Next week after, we'll solidify some stuff, and I'll put the word out to certain people that the invitation's open.
Right, make a more solid announcement in a couple of weeks.
Yes, definitely.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
It is definitely a plan about making a plan.
Yes,
that's for sure. So with that, I think one of the things we're going to move on to is a thing called the Meanwhile. Bob's got a harpsichord. Meanwhile. Thank you for that, Grant, because I don't have the sound effects queued up. So, Grant, let's. I know.
Should I do Ted Knight? Would that work better?
Yeah. Give me a little bit.
Meanwhile,
Billy Baroo. All right, so.
Mary.
I don't know. It's just. I don't have much besides Monroe, like for Ted Knight. So. In the Meanwhile section, we kind of cover stuff that we might have watched or been watching that we're kind of geeking out about. I know Bob's not watching this one, but I know Grant is, and he's been dying to talk about it to anyone who will listen to his madness. But Channel Zero, Candle Cove, the creepiest thing on TV right now, and just plain freaking weird, but in a good way. It's gone through, it's like a 6-episode anthology series on Sci-Fi. It's horror and weird tinged. I wouldn't call it straight horror, but it's definitely in that wheelhouse. And it's 6 and done.
And it stars Steve Gutenberg?
No. I mean, it's not that horrific. It's not,
Well, I didn't mean it that way because it's sci-fi, and he seems to be on everything on sci-fi.
I'm trying to give it a chance because the network a chance now because they've got a bunch of shows. They're really trying to get back to where they were for a little while. Remember before all the shark tornadoes and stuff like that?
Right. Well, now they're owned by NBC, so NBC's trying.
Well, they've owned it for a while. NBC's owned it for a while. It's nothing new. But what the thing is that they've reaffirmed where like they're trying to get away from they cashed in on the schmaltz.
Right.
The tornado of money. Right. With sharks and money is over.
They're done. They're done with that trauma period.
Yeah, it seems like the trauma from the trauma period.
We're in for a sci-fi renaissance now.
That's what they're hoping for. Who
needs Sharknado when you have Aftermath?
When you have, good point. We're not completely out of the water yet, because there is that show. Woohoo! But yeah, so Candle Cove, man.
Are we allowed to talk about this show with spoilers?
Well, I wouldn't get too spoiler crazy because I also do want to try and keep us from getting too long in the tooth about it.
Maybe hold back the biggest ones.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think what you need to kind of know is that it's shooting for the creepy, but you want to give like a kind of like a not too heavy setup on it, there, Grant?
Yeah, absolutely. So the synopsis for Channel Zero, this one is Channel Zero is really the headline, and the subline of the series is Candle Cove, because there's actually going to be another Channel Zero, which is 6 episodes long, and that's coming out in 2017. So this particular anthology starts out with Channel Zero, Candle Cove, and the premise of this story is based on a creepypasta. And apparently a creepypasta is a term that was invented, developed by, created, perpetuated by 4chan, which is an internet group. And these stories are perpetuated, grown, and harvested on the internet. They're myths and legends that, for the most part, people don't even know that they're fake until they're revealed to be a fake. Hence, they call it a creepypasta. And so,
as opposed to everything else that's on the internet,
right? Right.
It sounds like it makes perfect sense.
So this particular creepypasta was found to have been written some time ago. I've actually read it, and it is a bit different than what you're seeing. Most of it's there, but so Candle Cove is about a grown man who returns to his hometown to find that murders are reoccurring in similar fashion when he was a child, when his brother and other children were found to be missing and or murdered. And it's all kind of centers around this puppet children's show called Candle Cove. And it appears, for all intents and purposes, that during his time in childhood, nobody else really saw this. No adults ever saw this happening, going on. And so when he returns home and he starts seeing these strange occurrences happen again, he's kind of put in touch in a weird way with his brother and his past and all of the children that he grew up with who are also now adults who never left the town. And so to call this a horror, I think would be a misnomer. I think it is in the horror genre, but unsettling. It's rare that you can find something so intense and so unsettling without that gore, without that in-your-face loud noises. In fact, one of the things that makes Channel Zero Candle Cove brilliantly done is the sound design and the subtleties and the nuanced performances. There's not a ton of dialogue per episode. There is dialogue, but there's not a lot of it. And so the whole mystery is about this guy and that particular incident when he was a child, and that's played out over 6 episodes. Bill, you are 5 in, right?
Yeah. 6 didn't air yet, right? I mean, that's still to come, right?
Right. So we're caught up. We're on the same page.
So we're on the same page. But yeah, so it's just one of these things where it's capturing the creepy just right. You just don't see it like this on TV. I think the closest thing at times is probably, and I don't watch it all the time anymore, but it's probably
Shield.
It's trying. It's got a guy with a skull now. Is American Horror Story, but that's going for the more blood and a sensational kind of horror stuff. You know what I mean? I'm sure they try to go for the creepy and spooky too, but not like this is. This is doing a thing that sometimes feels like very dreamlike, and they're delving into some things that are more surreal at times too, where, you know, as much as things get explained too, what I like is that not everything is quite clearly explained, without trying to give too much away here and now, but I like that it's not all, I mean, unless there's more revelations to come, which is still possible, but I do like the feeling that, was that, buddy?
I don't think there is many more revelations to come, and that I think you and I were talking about this yesterday or the day before.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I actually liked about this is that episodes 1 through 5 really set up the questions, gave you the answers, and really rounded out the whole mystery. Because you're left to wonder predominantly is what's happening in the mind of a madman, an insane person. Is there something truly ghostly and supernatural happening? You don't really know, but they managed to pose all these questions, and really by the end of the 5th episode, you've got a strong grasp on what's really happening, what is or what isn't, and then it seemed to have set up like the final resolution for episode 6. They've got 52 minutes to wrap up this entire story they've built.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm curious about the most is actually now going into the last episode, since it seems like everything is kind of like out in the open. Like, that's a lot of time to resolve stuff. I'm thinking that there might still be a good deal more. I mean, to just kind of close the book on things last week.
Well, it sounds like this one's going to be the shit hits the fan episode.
I think it might, in a way, where it's like you think it's all over and explained, but one last swing before we go kind of a thing, I think.
Right. Something that kind of ties everything up, but then it's like, oh, fuck, it's a bigger mind fuck.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's like if you watch a regular movie and all of a sudden you look at the clock and it's like, oh, shit, there's another 20 minutes to this movie? I thought this was going to be over right now. And it's like, I know more cool stuff is coming, kind of a thing. But I just hope that my hopes are fair in that. Also, go ahead.
Yeah, I think they are. And the other point I wanted to touch on, or just, I guess, reiterate to people who are fans of the horror genre, is that there is a bit of, I guess, violence in this. It's very subdued or after the fact, but really you have to be wanting the unsettling moments, the quiet moments, the sound design. You want those things. And can we talk about what you and I talked about off air with regards to how it takes a horror trope and then does something that rarely, if ever, happens? So there's a scene. The characters, by the way, people listening, there are oftentimes in the episodes where you see the characters from the children's puppet show, like in the real world, and you're left to wonder: are they really there or aren't they? There is a child made only of the teeth of dead children meandering around the town, and it's
Scary.
yeah,
Yeah, where'd that come from?
creepy. Beth is on the microphone on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
So Candle Cove has got 2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
The only way it's gonna, I guess, lose that kind of rating in my mind is if they really drop the ball in the final episode. So
Yeah, I got a lot of hope for it. I really don't see how they really could unless they did something that undermined everything. But I don't foresee that either, though. To be honest with you, I think it's
Next-
gonna.
sci-fi.com. It can be found on Sci-Fi Now. It can be found on demand.
Yeah, catch up on that one, people. And then, and like you said, it's only 6 and you're out. And then next season it's a different thing, it's a different subtitle, and it's
so a sleeper.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sleeper. I thought more people would be talking about it. I think it's developing its own following for sure. But
I'm surprised. I ask
Yeah.
every single person at work, "Hey, have you watched this?" No, I don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm like,
Well, maybe you need to be the guy at the water cooler, Grant, telling everybody.
he already is. I guarantee you, he's probably.
I-
for some people, it's like, fucking Grant, Jesus
Well,
Christ, let's get
then have
TV
you-
recommendations.
Well, then,
I
have you
ordered
thought of
my
a banner?
child outfit. I can just walk around work wearing that outfit.
You should get the fucking Tooth Kid.
We are
But that's your Halloween suggestion for next year. Is
absolutely.
Tooth Kid. Just start saving your teeth now. So, also, I just wanted to kind of toss out there. I watched the first 2 episodes of The Expanse. Like this has been on Sci-Fi for a little while, and I'm intrigued. I'm going to watch more. So, if anybody was kind of like skipping past that and was curious about giving it a shot, the first 2 episodes, I mean, or whatever, they're pretty solid. It's pretty good setup. The first episode didn't really get me until like the very end, and I'm like, oh, okay. Let me see where the show goes now, kind of a thing. I wasn't super invested in the characters yet, like, you know what I mean? But it was definitely like a twist kind of end, not a twist per se, but like a left turn on what you would think would happen normally. So I was like, all right, let's see where it goes. What was that? Say it again?
Is that Thomas Jane?
Yeah, that's the one with Thomas Jane, but I don't know if he's in it still. I think they're going into season 3 now.
Spoiler.
Well, no, only that, like, I don't know. I see him doing other stuff all the time, and I don't know if it's because like there's always some crappy movie being made, and he can just jump into one of those. I don't know. He seems to have a tough run with getting a decent movie. I don't know why. The guy felt like he was on the cusp of something, and then he kind of.
You know what? The last movie I saw him in was some weird movie. And it had to have been 3-4 years old, but it was with John Cusack, who's doing just like. Talk about a guy who I grew up with and respected, and to see him doing direct video films that are so terrible.
Yeah.
You're like, really, this is Lloyd Dobler? Come on.
Well, it's sad because a lot of these guys, it's like they end up needing the Quentin Tarantino, John Travolta, rekindling to come into their careers. Otherwise, they don't become a thing again. They don't come round robin. All of a sudden, they all become Steven Seagal soon, and doing, God knows what.
With all the streaming services,
Sitting at home eating stuff going, I used to be
they are
famous.
all set up to be the next Steven Seagal. All of them. Like, because a lot of these people are going to be like, you know what? Netflix is going to give me a show. And Amazon's going to give me a show.
Well,
Hulu's going to give me a show. I mean, they don't have to go direct to DVD anymore. They can just go direct to stream. Thank God it's not as bad of a connotation.
No, that's true too, but I think it's still, in the end, it becomes down to opportunities. What's funny is like when you see somebody all of a sudden, like, how did this guy start to have a comeback or just start getting more work again? And it's like, he must have just changed agencies, or like, because it's not like sometimes where it's like, well, Travolta and Quentin Tarantino, like, that there was a hardcore, he did a big thing kind of thing, and that helped rekindle. But then other actors, like, you'll just see like Eric Roberts. Like, granted, that guy will always be around, but like all of a sudden there was a point where like 3 years ago, he was like starting to come up and pop up in decent stuff. And it's like, oh, okay. What did you change agencies?
The best movie that I've seen Cusack in I was in 2013. It was an amazing homage to and love letter really to Alfred Hitchcock, and it was with Elijah Wood, and it was called Grand Piano.
Okay.
Now Elijah Wood did most of the heavy lifting in the film, with being the protagonist, and Cusack was actually the antagonist. But since then,
Yeah.
Since then, nothing, man. You've had The Bag Man, which was terrible. I think Pacino or De Niro was in that one.
Well, let's put it like this.
Hey, wasn't he in Hot Tub? Hot Tub Time Machine?
Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Oh, 2. Okay, well, that's a start. That's a start.
No, that was a terrible film.
It might be a terrible film, but at least it was in front of some eyeballs instead of something direct to video.
That he just did, and it just came out, even though it was made back in Dragon Blade, with Jackie Chan, John Cusack.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, if you could see my face right now.
Don't forget Grosse Point Blank.
Wait! It's
Dragon Blade.
Yes, dude. Adrian Brody.
I'm done. I'm just done. I mean, Adrian Brody's good, but it's The Legend of John Cusack is what we're talking about.
Coming to you soon
I guess
on
what I'm getting
Touchstone
at
Video.
is really sad to see someone I had so much love for and really associate with my childhood and love of
No,
film.
absolutely. There's definitely a nostalgia quotiient with him a little bit, and it is a shame because it's like here's a guy, but he feels like another guy who he plays such a specific type. Like, I don't see him coming out of some breakout performance and rewriting himself. And like how we picture him, kind of a thing.
It's like Christian Slater, how Christian Slater was basically doing Jack Nicholson so that he could take the roles Jack Nicholson couldn't do.
He was just hoping for some young Jack role, like in a movie where we need someone to be Jack at 12 years old, kid. Can you do that? But he's a guy, he found his role in series television. I think John Cusack has that within him to do. I don't know if maybe the offers are not coming.
Maybe that's what he needs to do.
I think that's what he needs to do. Speaking of needing to do, you know what we need to do? We need to get into the news, man, because time is ticking, and we got to start hitting these things and go, 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 go. Bob, what's that jingle, baby? News o'clock. Woof. Hey, Palmer, you still in the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
checking.
This first news bit.
Yeah.
Grant's gonna love this.
Grant's gonna love this one.
I'm just gonna read the headline.
Yeah, give us a little bit of that.
Young Justice is getting a third season.
Oh, baby. I knew this. I heard it. I saw it. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. This is some of the biggest news ever. You have to understand.
Wow. Biggest news ever, Grant. I'm not going to say you're I'm not going to say you're hyperbolic, but that might be.
No, because
isn't this the one on the CW?
How many fans this show had,
yeah,
and they canceled it regardless.
Yeah, the fans wouldn't let it go.
This is like canceling Firefly. Okay, that's how big animated lovers threw a fit, and it didn't matter. And the only reason why they canceled this show was because they couldn't sell toys, or they weren't selling toys.
Yeah,
and they weren't hitting the market that they wanted to. So they tanked. They to much of the audience's chagrin.
Yeah.
They let it go, and people rioted, and it didn't matter. And then they
rioted.
Then they put it on Netflix.
Yes.
And really, Netflix was feeling it out.
Yeah.
Let's see what we're getting off of this. And this is it. Even though Netflix does not release their metrics or statistics, rather, this is a clear success and proven formula for Netflix. Because we wouldn't be seeing this resurgence. We wouldn't be getting a season 3 if it wasn't for Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might not air on Netflix.
Right.
But they gave somebody the numbers and said, look, man, you got to be in. It's going to be amazing. I'm super excited.
I think what people need to know, if they don't know what Young Justice is it's Teen Titans, no?
No, it is not.
So what's the lineup on it? Do you know off the top?
So, yeah. Oh, of course I know. I've seen every episode.
Well, then don't tell me, of course I know. Just spit it out and show me you know.
It's essentially what it is. It's all the sidekicks to the main DC superheroes.
This sounds lame.
It's not, though. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
So you've got, in season 1, you had Robin, who eventually transitioned into Nightwing in the second season, and everyone kind of grew up between season 1 and season 2. So Jason Todd came in. You've got Kid Flash. You've got Artemis, which is Arrow's sidekick. You've got Aqualad.
Ooh.
You've got Megan, a.k.a. the sidekick to Martian Manhunter.
Oh, okay.
There's several more.
Fair enough.
It's just an amazing well done, well told story. Oh, you got Kal-El, who is the clone to Clark Kent.
So you've got Justice League Jr. in a way. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is.
But this is one of those shows that hit on all age groups that the Cartoon Network is known for being able to do, where it's like, it's not, just for little kids. And so I think that's probably why they dismissed it at first. I think because there might have been, like, in its core, a little bit of a leaning towards younger audiences in the studio's mind and in the network's mind. So it was like,
that's what Teen Titans is.
Right, well, that's what I mean.
So
for them, it's like...
It's probably going to be another one like that.
Yeah, they wanted something a little bit older than Teen Titans Go, and because this didn't... and because this didn't sell or bring in the numbers enough, in their mind, it was like abandoned ship. But that's what's one of the great blessings about Netflix, is that we're getting new life for some projects. Hey, I may not be into Gilmore Girls, but those fans are happy too. Like,
this is after 5 years. That's what makes it amazing.
That is a good point.
5-year hiatus.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really liked about the first 2 seasons that's I guess noteworthy that people might find interesting is one whole chunk of the entire season, rather one of the seasons, focused on Roy, aka Speedy.
Oh, Speedy! You get all hopped up on the heroin for that one?
Right. So Speedy disappears. Speedy disappears, and he defects from the Young Justice team. He's always in the shadows there to help him out, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And so that's when they bring in Artemis, because of course Green Arrow needs to have a representation in the Young Justice.
Sure.
And they go through, in the entire season, they go through this really great storyline of seeing Roy coming in and out and doing his own thing and being a real renegade. And then, amazingly enough, you're like, where's this all going? Turns out it's the main plot of the entire season, because you find out that Roy is in fact a clone of the real Roy, who's actually
OMG.
Who's actually what? Who's actually what?
Who's actually Arsenal, because they had removed his arm.
All right, listen.
To clone him. It's awesome.
All right.
This is starting to sound like a soap opera rerun.
I was just gonna say.
Like a rundown.
If you tell me Roman Brady and Stefano DiMera walk in, I'm out. No, but that's one of the greatest things, is like when they take you for those twists on top of twists and stuff like that. But I like it when stuff like that happens. When what are you laughing at? That when it takes a what's that?
You mentioned Days of Our Lives. You didn't hear Beth. She leaned and goes, "I love Days of Our Lives."
Well, it's the only show I ever. It's the only soap opera I know. It's the only one I ever watched. I watched probably way too much for a certain while. All right,
Mom.
Yeah, it was Mom's favorite, so that's what got me hooked. I was like, wait a minute, this guy's a replacement.
She loved it
of
so
some
much
other
she
guy?
tried to get me to get John Stamos' haircut. When he was
well,
on that show.
Mom liked the shoulder length long hair. Let's not get into that.
Yeah. She had a thing for the mullet.
Yeah, well, she's a person of her era. What can you say? That was an okay thing back then. All right, so next bit here is just that. I'm going to go in and out real quick on this one, Palmer. I'm taking the lead because we're going in and out. Is that they are going to make a prequel series to Big Bang Theory. So if you ever wanted to know what Sheldon was like at 12 years old, here you go.
Is this going to be a Nickelodeon show?
Please
tell me it's going to be a Nickelodeon show.
Why does this have to be news?
I don't know. I left it in the document. I don't know. It was in there.
File that under the garbage section.
Yeah, I don't get it. This is almost as bad as making a cartoon version of your show.
It sounds like it's going to be.
That article wasn't the one I had read. The one I had read actually had a good reason for making it.
Okay, which
was they want to build on the
the universe?
Ratings.
Oh.
No, they want to build on the ratings of Big Bang Theory without actually paying the actors.
Yeah.
I think the top 3 get $1 million an episode. They were like, screw it, we'll just do it some other way.
Well, don't get me wrong. That's a reason for the logic behind it. It's still not a good enough reason to make the show. I'm sorry. It's basically like
there literally is no reason to make this show.
It really isn't. Not for nothing. I just feel like
No, they've already made Ned Declassified School Survival.
No one is out there clamoring for a prequel to The Big Bang Theory.
The people
literally, I've never once heard someone go, "I'd really like to know what he was like before." I'll tell you what he was like before. The same.
Asperger's.
Right. Exactly.
He was the kid that most
people. Is this going to be a drama? Is this going to be a drama. Instead
Well,
of comedy?
here's the
we can
thing.
address the very serious subject of people who have, Asperger's.
Maybe because they're talking about shooting it on film. That it might have a different tone altogether. It might be like Sheldon meets the Wonder Years. I'm worried. Go ahead, Palmer, because you read a different article.
I think you're gonna end up with a bigger problem of how to make it funny without offending anyone, because he's the progressive scientist in right-wing Texas. Is what I remember from this. But
that's true.
I wanted to
his very religious upbringing. That'll be the butt of the jokes. That'll go over well.
I have news from Ed.
Oh, we got an Ed news flash.
Yes.
Ed alert.
He's on the Bay Parkway.
Ooh.
There's an overpass.
Okay.
He wants me to tell Bob that Ed loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we made it, and Osin, you sly devil, you.
Who?
That's his driver.
Oh, sin, you sly devil. Okay, well, at least we know he's alive still. These are proofs of life.
But he's on a parkway.
I was going to say, he said we made it, but I don't know where he made it to. I don't know if he made it home, to the garage.
He's getting close.
So stay tuned for more details.
If he's on Bay Parkway, he's getting close. He's in Brooklyn still, but he'll be going over the bridge at any minute now.
We'll have more information as it comes in to the news desk. Uh-oh.
On second thought, I don't have to tell you that Ed loves you.
That's true. He does.
That came in now.
Oh, okay. Well,
hey, could you let Ed know that I'm filling his seat tonight? That ought to make him nice and square.
Well, you got to realize, though, that Ed loves barbecue sauce, too. So, you got to take these things with a grain of salt.
He loves a lot of things, I'm sure. But, yeah, Palmer, let Ed know that his job may be at risk. He better tell Singh to put the pedal to the metal. Yeah, tell him to reach over and put his foot down on top of Singh's foot. So I'm going to burn through a couple of these real quick. Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman's basically he won't reveal what the ending is to the series to AMC.
Duh.
They don't pressure him for it.
Is that a surprise?
Not really, but I mean he was asked, and it was one of these things where it's an interesting article if you can find it, because he talks about how the fact of like he kind of knows where the book ends, and he's pretty sure the series will probably end in the same place. But like,
zombies are gonna end up in a missile silo somewhere and end up blowing up everything.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that like he's wondering how. I think the point of the article is that's like they compare it to Game of Thrones in that like George Martin basically gave away the kitty to those producers. And, like, they know how it ends. They're working towards that ending. Whereas with him, with this, it's like it's not catching up to the books just yet, really. But it is kind of closing a gap a little bit. So for fans of that who are wondering what's, like, the long term for that, I don't think it's going to hit a point with, like, George Martin where it's going to be like, I think they'll come up with an ending. Like, if all of a sudden it's like the book is still going and he hasn't hit the end point for the book he has in mind, then they'll concoct some kind of finality or some kind of wrap for the series that would still probably be independent and different than the ending in the book. I would hope. You know what I mean? That he wouldn't try and speed it up and make it happen.
Well, they're going to have to at some point, because people are going to stop watching the show and they're going to be like, all right, ratings are done, so the show is done. We have to move on, make an ending.
It's going to be a while, though. It's still a ratings.
Well, whatever it is.
No, I'm just saying, but you're absolutely right. I mean, eventually the bottom has to kind of fall out. It falls out of everything. Yeah. Or the cast just starts to demand so much money.
It could be another 20. But it's going to happen. And
it's the new cast of Friends. All of a sudden they're going to start making contract demands
that's okay,
as a group.
Because eventually none of them will get work anymore anyway.
Yeah, they'll be pigeonholed like the rest of the cast of Friends, where it's just like, oh, remember all the people on Lost? Who got work out of that? One person. Like, I feel like, well, that's not true. Matthew Fox got a movie, and then before the show was over, I think, and then Evangeline Lilly was in like maybe two things. She was definitely in that Lord of the Rings Hobbit thing.
Yeah, she's been
Evangeline Lilly was in which one? Ant-Man. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally apologize. She's making a resurgence.
Yeah.
She's making a comeback.
She was also in
what's his name?
What was the Hugh Jackman robot fighting movie?
Okay, fair. All right. I stand corrected.
Steel Steel.
I stand corrected. This is why we don't have Grant on the show, because he's constantly telling me how I'm
Blue Steel, which
wrong.
actually was a pretty good movie.
No, it wasn't too bad for what it was.
For what it was, it was
and
entertaining.
then you've got got Josh Holloway doing his USA original series.
Have you caught any of that?
It's on season 2.
Have you caught any of that? I never caught.
No,
I meant to.
I caught an episode and I was like, I couldn't watch the whole episode.
That's what I heard from a few people.
It didn't look that.
Yeah.
But don't forget about Dominic
interesting enough for
Monaghan's been
season
doing
2.
video games.
Fair enough.
Was that Bob?
Dominic Monaghan's been doing video games.
Oh yeah, he's been doing a lot of stuff on that. Yeah. I think he's even like in the Call of Duty, right, or something
Right.
like that. All right, so the next bit right here is that that Cloak and Dagger TV series that was coming to Freeform ABC Family, it's got pushed back. So don't get your hopes up too high for that too soon. We were all nervous about it anyway. Also, guess finally something in sports that I might actually watch. An XFL documentary is going to come to 30 for 30 in February. So if you ever wanted to know and get some behind-the-scenes docu-style expose on the XFL and people like he hate me or whatever these fucking players' names
fully
were.
expect an over-the-top Donald Trump representation.
Oh, I don't know if we can. I don't even know if he was involved, but we'll figure out a way.
He was.
Trump killed the USFL. He didn't
right.
kill the XFL.
That's true. That's true.
Wasn't the XFL? Wasn't that done by big time wrestler
Vince
guy?
McMahon. Vince
McMahon.
McMahon. Yeah.
Vince McMahon, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
right.
actually being interested in watching that because I felt like the rules allowed for a lot more aggression.
Well, that was what it was. It got
Yeah.
me. I was watching it. And I was trying to give it a
lot
shot.
more steroids.
You know, and it was all this personality and flash and trying to make
Right.
Oh
these
yeah, it
characters.
was
Trying to
football
build
with
them up
big time
like
wrestling.
wrestlers.
But I remember one of the, am I correct in my memory? Am I correct that one of the rules that they eliminated was if you caught the ball on kickoff, you ran with it or you got your ass handed to you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
took
yeah,
away.
yeah.
They
No
took,
touchbacks.
Right.
Yeah, that's what that's what needs to happen in football. Like if you catch that ball, you run.
That's I mean, I don't know it that well, but from what I understand, that's like one of these big. Like for some people, that's a
Right.
contention in football. It's like once they changed that rule, it took the pressure away from the quarterback. There was all this pressure that.
Well, it just made it a more strategic game and less action.
Right.
At that moment.
right.
But in return, they've given the quarterback a lot of leeway.
So I think what really comes down to is just how this whole thing gestated and then fell apart within a truncated season of sports. You know what I mean? It was arena
did
football.
It even get a full season?
I don't know. I don't even know
I think they had one season and then
the big game at the end.
Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, 'cause they had the payoff season. They had
Yeah,
because I remember them saying that the guys were only getting like $5,000.
yeah. It
each
was
for
all
doing-
guys who couldn't make it into the league, guys who were already out of the league.
Right.
You know what?
And arena
It's
sized
interesting because
football stadium playing field rather.
I
Palmer.
can't remember who he was, but all I remember is He Hate Me actually went on to a good career in the NFL.
Is he the only one? He's probably one of the
That's
few
the
that
only
switched
one I
out.
know of that actually switched out.
And I think the only thing that the NFL took from it too is the on-field camera that comes down on the cables over the field. They don't use it as much as XFL did. But XFL.
No, they use it a lot. Actually, it's just they keep it stationary.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So you
They
don't
keep it-
really.
They set it in the middle of the field.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you see a
That's
little bit
true.
back.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
One that's not real far back, but but it's behind everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
One
and
that's
it's ground
kinda close,
level.
That's going to be a wire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because you do see them zing by once in a while.
Yeah, occasionally.
I always wanted to see like distracting explosions happen off sides or like obstacles pop out on the field while they're running.
Well, let's have fun with this fucking thing, you know?
It's time that they took these traditional national sports and they did something to make them interesting. Like I you know what? I love European football, but I always wonder why they don't make the like you want to see like action happen, you want to see some more goals, you want to see some more contact. You've got to like cut the field in half. Make that
The field is
American.
fucking huge.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
It's ludicrous.
Well, you
the
do,
basket
you
in
do like
basketball?
Arena League football, and it's actually a 50-yard field.
Yeah. Well, in American
why
football.
are we not raising the basketball? Like now that everyone can slam dunk, let's make it a little more difficult. Let's make it moving.
Right.
Let's
Well,
have
make it like you
Right.
gotta
When
make it.
when they came up with the height
Make
of
it
the
like the
basket,
arcade.
everyone was like 5'10".
So you got to make it like that commercial. You remember, like there was that future of basketball commercial. I don't know if it was Nike or Gatorade, and now it's like the goal, the hoop is like 25 feet up, and everybody is still slamming on it. But it's like 25 years from now, everyone's like just super jacked.
They got
and,
did rockets in their sneakers.
Yeah, it was one of these. is everything to the next level. But
they're playing with flubber.
I agree with you as a non-traditional sports fan that some of these games, let's. I want to see somebody reinvent baseball. You know what I mean? Like
they did that in Futurama.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. But I mean real world. I know all these little games pop up once in a while and get a little bit of a following, like Slam Ball. Remember that? That was the basketball with the trampolines.
Yes.
They tried for a while. It was crazy. It was nuts. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's because it's got a silly kind of component to it visually that people just couldn't get behind it and take it seriously.
Maybe basketball. Bring back basketball.
That American sport again.
Like
No, that got replaced by American Ninja Warrior.
That's it. I say we bring back real gladiator style fight stuff. Let's just do that. I mean, that's what MMA is basically, right? I mean, just dress it up differently.
Yeah, we're not far
just
from
give
it,
them
my friend.
give them maces.
Yeah, that's it. Just give them some weapons and some light armor.
Toss a couple gladius into the ring.
I think we'll be all right. All right. So the next thing up. Go ahead.
I have an
Lions.
Ed update.
We have another Ed
update.
Yes. Ed is first. He sent me an image. I let him know that Grant was filling his seat.
Fair enough.
So first, he sent me an image of Khan yelling. And
He's
then
so corny.
he said that he got to the bridge.
The bridge.
The bridge.
The bridge. There's
The
only
bridge.
one.
No.
The bridge.
All
Well,
right.
it doesn't matter. They all rip you off. So
That's
the
true.
bridge. They're all $16 now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If you want to get in or out of the city, you got to pay
next in
the
the
toll.
news?
What's next in the news? In the news, we're going to jump over real quick to some movie stuff. Michael Keaton is confirmed as the Vulture in Spider-Man. Homecoming.
We all figured that out.
We all kind of did. And also young Tom, playing Peter Parker, has signed on for six movies.
6 movies.
6 movies. So I don't know if that means 6 Spider-Mans, just 6 Marvel productions in general.
No, it's going to be
6
overall.
Marvel, but you got to figure if Spider-Man: Homecoming is 1, he's going to be in Avengers: Infinity War 1 and 2. So that's 3 of them right there.
Unless he dies in one.
That's a good point. I mean, you know, there might just be a cover story. It might just be, you know.
And then one of the stones, we know which stone, turns and changes things.
Right. How about like any of them? That's what I love
Really?
about the Infinity Stones. It's like they're all so crazy powerful, at least in the comics. Like you really don't need, like, if you had like 3 of them, you would be just as powerful. Like
I would think you'd be okay with one.
You know what I mean? Once you have like the reality gem, I don't think you need any of the others. Like you control
Right.
reality.
Yeah, well, I think you could just take that and go, okay, hey, let's make reality.
Yeah.
The reality of the fact that I have all 6.
Well, well, that's what I mean. Or they all 6 just don't matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I got 1. I just boil it down to 1. Let's not make a gauntlet. That's silly. Someone can pull it off my hand.
Right. Reality
Put all the
that I
power into the
have
one.
all
I have
6.
it. It's mine.
You know what I mean?
Done.
I just think it's a little cumbersome. It's this big goofy glove. Just make it 1 gem. I'll wear it. I'll swallow it.
Evidently, it's an oven mitt that doesn't work very well.
Yeah, basically. If you're getting it from Loot Crate, kids, don't cook the cookies with
You
that.
know what?
thing.
You know what I'd like to. You know who I'd like to see them introduce, and I think it would be a unique way to interject some new blood into the franchise, because I feel like Infinity Wars or whatever they're going to call this next series is going to be like Marvel Civil War. It's just an excuse to put a bunch of heroes in costumes that we love and want to see on screen.
For the most part,
on screen, beating the crap out of each other. But put the Beyonder in there. Let's play with the Beyonders.
Whoa. We got to save something for after Thanos. Because here's the thing I keep thinking is that, you know, Thanos is like this big baddie, and it's the glove and it's all these gems, and that's pretty fucking big and powerful. And how do you ever top that? And I think in the end, like, the Beyonder is the next super huge thing after that. Like, I don't know how you get any bigger than Thanos or the Beyonder in a certain way where he's another cosmic guy. Like, so it may feel a little recycle in the movie kind of sense of things and how they think about things. They might feel like that's recycly, but I don't know how you work towards doing that again. Well, let's say Marvel says, okay, this was all these different phases where, like, you know, a bracket of movies won, and now we're going to start moving long term towards another big thing. you know, and what could that ever be as a bad guy now that you've done Thanos? Marvel just kept on doing Thanos. Like, they'd just be like, okay, another summer, another Thanos issue. Like, you know, another problem with Thanos. Like, oh, it's because it was Infinity Gauntlet, then it was Infinity War, then it was Infinity Garage Sale or whatever. It was constantly, every summer it was an Infinity something crossover. So, you know, it's like a thing where it's like, maybe they won't try to build towards another monstrous crossover after they do the Infinity stuff, because I don't know if you can achieve that again. You know what I mean? Or if you do, how do you top it? Like, it's so far-reaching in scope and cosmic and death of the universe, basically, kind of shit.
You just reboot the whole universe and start over.
Well, that's what some people think. Some people think, like, after the Infinity thing, maybe they'll just say, well, there's a great opportunity to kind of say, wipe the slate clean with the actors and come in new. But
you know what,
as long as they come in new with new stories and not just new actors.
No, that's true too.
Maybe they come in
like I don't want another origin for all these guys.
I don't know if Palmer can see me.
Right. Right. Like, we come back, end the movie, suddenly everything gets reversed, and we go back to seeing Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
Well, let's not. Well, you know what's funny is that at this point, at some point, they could do an old man Spidey, and they can get Toby to come back. But the problem is he keeps aging.
All you got to do is pay him in carrots and celery, man.
No, I'm not saying you can't get him for cheap. Yeah. I'm just saying by the time we get around to that, he's gonna be
gonna be so hungry. He'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll take a carrot.
But he can't play young Peter Parker anymore. Is my thing. Like, you know what I mean?
You did see the headline somewhere on one of the sites. I've been reading Deadline a lot lately, where it showed.
Good boy.
It said another Spider-Man dance scene, and it shows Tom Holland doing like some sort of dance because it must be Homecoming. But
right.
just the same, the joke in the headline, of course, was referencing Tobey Maguire's
Oh
dance
my God,
scene.
that tragedy! Oh, what an abysmal thing.
But you know what? Looking back on those Spider-Man films, I remember when Spider-Man 2 came out, and they introduced Doc Ock and whatnot, and I have to tell you, to this day, that scene where he fights Doc Ock in the streets and then on the subway is one of the best film superhero scenes.
It is really good.
Yeah, definitely.
More so than a lot of the scenes that we've seen in these big Marvel blowout films.
I think those get dismissed.
I really do.
I think those Spider-Man movies get a little dismissed. Yeah. Well, there's that. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
There's a claustrophobic quality.
Kind of quality to that fight. There's a lot of claustrophobic.
Yeah, a lot of stuff goes on in the train.
Yeah, I think for me it was the emotional connection and granted the line works, although it doesn't justify or really show that much. But when they go through the big battle scene and you're seeing the movements that you've seen so many times on the comic book pages played out so perfectly well, and then when he stops the train and you see him using everything he has to stop this train and his suit pops and everything, and he passes out, and it's one of the greatest moments in comic book movies.
Did you want to kiss him?
Is when when he pulls when they pull the mask off him and somebody goes, he's just a kid. Now here's the problem.
He's just a 35-year-old kid.
Visually, it didn't play out well.
They pass him over everybody.
Yeah,
I have to tell you, if you were a blind person who was listening to that movie,
come on.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm not being. No. Don't take this the wrong way. Understand what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that the emotional impact of that statement? It was really quite a bit, because that's what Spider-Man's always been about, right? That he's a kid that takes on this enormous responsibility.
Yeah.
And it was a great line to have in there. Unfortunately, visually, it just didn't play out because Tobey Maguire looked like a 30-year-old kid. But now they've got Tom Holland, and you're like, there's a kid.
Yeah. You know what? All right, you took a long way to get there, but yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. But you're right, though. I mean, that's the one. That's the one component they were really missing from those movies was the subconscious believability of his age. Whereas with Toby, it never really felt.
He looks 40. He looked 40 when he was 20.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Like when all of a sudden he was in college, it was like, shouldn't you already be out?
Really?
Like, why are you starting?
Shouldn't you have paid off your
now?
mortgage by now?
You know what I mean? All right. So the next thing on here is Jessica Chastain is going to be in a Painkiller Jane movie. For anybody who doesn't know, pull it back. I can't read it. You couldn't read it. You were too close to the camera. He's laughing. I really couldn't read it.
Painkiller Jane, Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, it just rhymes too much. I say we shouldn't do that because it rhymes. No, but Painkiller Jane is a secondary kind of tier comic book from indie publisher stuff. I think they Sci-Fi Channel tried to make a show out of it. I don't know how good this script must be to get her to sign up for it, but if she did, all right. She seems to be making smart choices in Hollywood.
Well, if they're going to do that, why don't they bring back, what's her name, Tank Girl?
Well, I mean, at this point, I think it's the thing of, like, when a good script comes around, I guess some people will jump on it, you know, tell somebody to write a good Tank Girl script, you know?
Sci-Fi series?
Say again?
Did you watch the sci-fi series of Painkiller Jane?
I remember watching the pilot. I don't know if I got past the pilot.
I didn't even know there was a pilot.
It wasn't terrible, but it definitely is reminiscent of sci-fi's earlier quality of television shows.
Yeah, because this is going back a ways, too.
It wasn't terrible. I think it really came in during a transitional phase for the quality of sci-fi shows.
Those transitional phases.
Under budget and underwritten.
Those transitional phases will get you every time. Got me a 13.
After that, you know, you ended up a short time after getting Eureka, getting Warehouse 13.
Yeah.
The projects that they started backing were a bit better.
Yeah. All right. So from there, because there's not a lot to go on it, Robert Redford says he's going to retire from acting shortly. All right.
Okay.
No one's expecting you not to.
No, he was looking like Leatherface anyway.
And every time he pops up in something, I already thought you were. I kind of feel like, hey, I thought you were done here.
Yeah.
Like, not to say we want you to go away or you're annoying. You're Robert Redford. You're pretty cool. You're laid back still. You haven't become a complete douchebag like most people do. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you haven't overstayed your welcome. But you keep popping up, like, randomly. Just, like, so randomly.
Well, I think what he's doing is he's spending his money between movies wisely.
Right. He doesn't need to jump on everything. But every now and then he does need some more work. And the Marvel paycheck was probably pretty nice because they probably
and he's got Sundance, remember?
Well, he does have he stays busy, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got all kinds of projects and things to keep his daytime busy. So if he retired, I don't know that we would know he was really gone for sure.
Well, I think he's kind of become like Paul Newman.
All right. I'm going to skip over this next one just because it's not really that big a deal. Turns out we're still going to get a Transformers spin-off movie. Woohoo, great. Not really. And also, the same writer of that has just signed on to be writing the Harley Quinn / Birds of Prey movie, which is kind of interesting. We'll see where that goes.
So I'm sorry to go back just a little bit to the Transformers movie. So what are we getting? A Decepticons movie?
No, just Bumblebee. Bumblebee's getting Bumblebee is so cool. He's basically like the Wolverine.
So GM is funding this movie.
Basically, it's like GM was like, "No, really, we'll help. We'll help with the budget. We'll help." It's like, yeah, you should. There's a lot of product placement.
We've got a lot of new models we need in the movie.
We got another Camaro coming out every year. I mean, come on.
Can you use an electric car?
Bumblebee is a Segway. No, we don't make those. All right, and then something that Grant probably saw in the news and may or may not have his feathers in a ruffle, but maybe not. But in the reboot report this week, Max Landis, who is just getting work all over like crazy lately, and a lot of it good. Max Landis is actually involved in Candle Cove. Max Landis, yeah. He's one of the overseeing producers on that, trying to make sure it goes along.
I saw his name on that, and I was like, insane.
Yeah, and he's doing Dirk Gently. He's been writing some comics lately. He's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's all been pretty good, man. But he will write and direct. I don't know why we need to, but an American Werewolf in London remake.
Why? It's a perfectly good movie on its own.
And I feel the same way.
That's me. That one is a modern horror classic. I don't even know if I should call it a horror.
But let's put it like this, though: the movie is almost sacrosanct, like in a way where it's like, you're gonna remake that.
Yeah, I mean the story in that one is cool, but the biggest claim to fame was the transformations of the
absolutely,
wolf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if that's the claim to fame, you're gonna hinge a remake on.
Yeah.
Now,
is it enough?
Good point.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna get a better transformation scene because it's gonna be predominantly CGI unless somebody comes out of the woodwork and they guarantee that they're gonna use practical effects,
right?
And they can improve upon that. I just don't. It was still a good story. I mean, you had what was it, David Naughton, and you had
Yeah, the Pepsi,
so
the
Pete,
Dr. Pepper guy, right?
The Dr. Pepper guy?
Yeah.
I guess
he was the Dr. Pepper commercial guy.
All right. I mean, it's. I remember those guys, and I remember them being in a lot of shit back then. So
yeah, he used to sing. He was the guy who used to sing the song. Don't you want to be a pepper too?
Oh, okay, all right. I'm gonna take your word for it. You know what I mean?
And then his best friend that haunts him through the whole movie now is You'll know his best friend that haunts him through the whole movie of American Werewolf in London is not. He's not only a famous writer. He's a writer, director, and actor, but he is the husband on I Love Dick.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad that we both said that at the same time. Because we do. But so that's so like you said, I think like the interesting thing with that in the story itself is really how he's haunted by the ghost of his friend the whole time. And that guy just gets nastier and nastier looking as the movie goes on. And like we said, the transition scene, like if they do that practical, it'll be interesting to see it in general, like how, because practical effects are better today. So like, don't get me wrong, like I don't want to see it, and I feel like if you, but that one it's not enough of a reason to make it.
Yeah, that movie though, the practical effects were awesome.
Oh yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, I would prefer that they do it that way.
Oh, yeah.
But if they're going to do it that way, they got to outdo it on every level.
Well, that's the thing.
It wasn't just the practical effects, though. You go back and watch that. Not only does that film hold up, David gave a great performance during that transformation scene. It wasn't just the visual of it, but like the idea that it was just excruciatingly, terrifyingly painful and not something cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, with all the bubbles and the popping and everything. I still remember it. Anyone who hasn't seen the movie should see that movie.
The only other film that I recollect having that high quality of practical effects and transformation scenes, and it haunts me to this day, is the original Howling.
I don't know if I ever saw any of the Howling movies.
That was a pretty twisted one. I saw that when I was a kid. That scared the crap out of me. There's a couple of scenes where, as dude's transforming, he's like talking to people and cutting himself and stuff, and it just.
Oh, it's amazing. But the rest of the Howlings thereafter were terrible.
Yeah, I do remember that. Knowing
they wrote on that one.
It was one of those horror movies where it was more in the disturbed kind of end of the pool.
Yeah, because
these just straight horror. Like
these were werewolves that like they loved being werewolves and they lived their life this way.
Palmer, you have a scoop or a report or something?
Ed has finally arrived at Pep Boys and is waiting for his ride home.
All right, that's your update. That's your Ed report. All right, so that also takes us out of the running here for the reboot report and the news in general. That wraps us up for the news. Unless, Grant?
I have a tangent on the Max Landis
Of course you do.
Report.
But what do you got? Hit me, because we got a little time.
So have you guys have seen the trailer for the new Power Ranger?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So you know that originally Max Landis pitched a script and was good to go as the guy behind that project, and they ditched him on that. And as it turns out, they took the majority of his ideas and his visual aesthetic for Chronicle, and they applied it to this Power Rangers film, which, by the way, the trailer has me super excited to watch this movie.
Yeah, it's one of those mixed bags. I'm like, wow, that looks really good for the thing it is, but the thing it is still does not appeal to me. Like, it just really...
Fair enough.
Fair enough. It just didn't. I don't know why, but I was like, whoa, wow. Like, if I was a Power Ranger fan, like, I would be turgid.
You're never going to get out of your head that it's been geared towards 12, 13-year-olds.
I say turgid. Okay? Turgid, turgid, turgid. It's the word of the week on the Wicked Theory podcast. Turgid. I wish I had the definition, but I don't. But you know what it means. It means firm and erect.
It's hilarious that you said that. I'm asking Beth across the table, and she's going,
it means swollen.
Firm.
Firm. All right, so enough about my sausage. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. Did anybody stick around? I saw it cleared out. I scared somebody away.
Meow God and Thomas K have joined.
Ooh, Ooh, there's some friends of the show. Thomas K., we gave you a shout-out and a big thank you earlier on for all your Patreon help. Professor Politico really laying on the hearts there. Thanks for that, buddy. A lot of hearts, lots of love in the chat room.
We need your ass kissing. Please continue.
I think when you give us hearts, if I mean, I don't know how many hearts it takes to get, but, if we get hearts in the Mixler, it's supposed to help you get to the front page of Mixler or,
Thousands.
Probably thousands, yeah. So if you don't mind burning off the cartilage in your thumb, why don't you just...
you have to wait now.
Tell me.
Hit it like on.
You always did.
There was a reload.
Yeah,
There
always.
was always like a reload.
But you know what? It's quicker on mobile. The wait is not as long on mobile as it is on desktop.
And there you go, folks. That's how you do it. If you really want to help us out, you log into 2 accounts. You have it on your mobile, you have it on your desktop, and you just go back and forth and just give us all the love. All the love.
No, they don't have to do that. That's what Palmer's for.
Well, Palmer loves us anyway.
All of my love, all of my kissing, you don't know what you've been missing, no boy.
Oh, boy.
Wicked Theory.
Wicked Theory. Wicked Theory.
Thank you, Buddy Holly.
Show. Wicked Theory. All right, so...
I need to learn some Buddy Holly on guitar.
So Ed is still not here yet. I guess he's probably going to end up landing sometime during the after show.
He's going home for Chinese food.
Yeah. Palmer, what's our runtime? Am I reading this correct? That we're only like at an hour 15?
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Okay.
You are erect, sir.
I am. No, I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're turgid.
It's early still.
Beth was really hoping that you would cover Westworld.
Well, we could. I was about to not, but only because
I've only
deep...
seen Bill's seen 6. I've seen 5.
It is a thing where it's like I know it's a Pandora's box of conversation, and we are up against the time right now a little bit.
You could do it in the after show, Bill.
We could try and hit it in the after show. So there is that. I was going to jump over to the emails now. Not many of those. And that'll probably bring us in under the 1.5 mark, which is where I like to keep it. And then if you're going to stick around, Grant, we can maybe talk a little bit of the Westworld, the world of the West.
I may stick around. I may put my kids to bed and put Beth firmly in this chair versus the chair she's sitting in.
Ooh.
Firmly.
Turgidly. Okay. That's not how the word works, right? All right. So, as you guys all do what you do, I'm going to say to Bob, it's time for emails.
It is.
It is. We got email. Sometimes it's lots of email, but not this week. It's just a little bit of email. So we only got just a couple this week. One of those people is already on the show today. I'll let you decipher that. First one is from Stephanie Muniz. There you go. It's a Steph mail. All right, so hey, yous guys. I am out of town, so this will be short. The Nintendo NES Mini was released this past Friday, and the very super limited release immediately sold out first thing in the morning. People waited in line, and even then were not guaranteed to get one. I know you guys were not overly gung-ho about the NES Mini, but what do you think about Nintendo making it in such a limited release? Take care, your pal, Steph. I think it just lacked some foresight on this one.
No, I don't think so.
You think it was all kind of like...
I think they do this on purpose now. It's happened in the past accidentally. I think... Go ahead, Grant.
Oh no, I'm following you. I think you and I are on the same page with the thought process there. I think it was fully intentional. It generates interest. It creates a false sense of desire and awesomeness.
Right.
It's nothing more than a marketing aspect. I mean, they're not the only company to do this with the specific product.
No, Apple does it all the time too.
Yeah.
They always swear that they're coming out with enough for the holiday season, and then
it's always shy.
And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's iPhones or Xboxes or
games in particular.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's probably better to always undersell it. This way, it's sold out. and you can always stamp hey, it's sold out in record time. Well, if you only shipped 1,000 units, you know what I mean? Right. Or, you undersold, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lowballed it intentionally, so you can get that stamp. Meanwhile, it's like
building
concert
up false
tickets.
need, false demand.
Right, it's like concert tickets. It's like, the show sold out in 2 days if you want to see Bruce Springsteen, and then it's like, we open up 2 more.
Ticketmaster bought them all. That's why.
Right, and they hold them back, and that's what I was getting to. And then it's like 2 days later, it's like, 3 more shows. Get them while they're hot, and it's like this false sense of.
And here's the thing: there's nothing really to this, and I'm not denigrating the idea behind it, but really all they're doing is they're selling nostalgia. Literally, they're selling nostalgia.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already said that there's only 30 games. They're not going to add any more to it. You can't download any more to it. You can't do anything with it other than it looks like an original NES. It has 30 classic games, hardwired into it. But I assure you, only a Nintendo collector, someone who literally just collects Nintendo things because that's what they hoard.
Yeah, that's
gonna want this.
Well,
right.
Ed, can you get on that and see what exactly the games are?
Ed, look that up
thing?
for us and let us.
Never mind.
Fuck, Ed's not here.
Parents who don't have an NES anymore, but they're always trying to tell their kids who play the Xbox One or PS4 how cool these old games are.
And these kids are gonna play them, and they're gonna
maybe
be like,
they'll buy one, but otherwise, they're just speaking to your childhood.
Grant, I think the thing you're missing is that most of these classic games are available in the Virtual Console, which was released with the Wii and the Wii U. So, it's not like you can't play these games elsewhere. Like, it's not like you're only going to be able to play this game.
Yeah, I think it's really just coming down to this.
There is no exclusivity to
That's what boggles my mind, because and then it becomes down to then you just, like Grant was kind of saying, then you just maybe your Nintendo file or whatever, but you just kind of I like this package, I like this whole little setup it's got, I want to have that, and isn't it in a reasonable price range too, or no?
$60.
Was that
$60?
$60. Jesus Christ!
I think it should be about half that.
Well, not only that, but it's only costing $60. That's 30 to the fucking store. It's like 15 for manufacturer. How come you didn't make another 3,000 of these? They're so cheap.
Hey, exactly. Palmer, get on eBay and see how many are on eBay.
No.
Wait, I want to know one thing, guys.
Actually, there's a whole bunch on eBay. The article I read said that there are some on eBay going as high as $5,000.
And that was at the time you read it. That's insane.
And you know what, Grant? Aren't you kicking yourself for not waiting in line to go buy one and put it on eBay?
Yeah.
Does this thing come with the original controllers? That's what I want to know.
I think it's shaped like one.
I would wait for someone to offer me that $5,000, and then I would go off on a Grant rant and not even sell it to him. I would just lay into them about. Oh my God, the idiocy! So literally, unless it's made of gold, I don't
It's just the appeal. I don't get it either, and I think I do think that there's a certain aspect of this, of them not really realizing the market potential that they had in a way. Because here's the other thing that could backfire on them is that a bunch of people get this thing, and it's just not that. It doesn't have the wow. It's only nostalgia. It's just what it is. So it's like. It's ooh, I got this thing, and it's like, well, unless you were excited about
this
it,
is their
when you
MO,
heard
though.
about it, you're not going to get excited when you see it.
This is what Nintendo does.
Yeah, absolutely. They just cater to their own their tiny base.
Right, that's it.
It's basically true. Palmer, do you have a report of some kind?
No, I have an Ed update.
An Ed update. Yeah.
Ed has been picked up by his mother and is now on his way home.
Did she bring him the Chinese food?
Thank God for Mom.
I don't have that update.
I know that Ed would probably starve to death if he didn't get that Chinese food in time.
That's fine. That's fair. That's true. You never know. Mom's got to watch out for her baby.
Ed can't go that long without nourishment.
I doubt it. All right. So with that, we got to jump over to. We got another email in here from a very familiar person. You've heard him.
Let's go to the email. Let's go to the email.
Agent.
Go to the email.
Agent Palmer sent one in, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the room. He is in the room.
That's me.
That's you. So,
am I reading mine?
I guess you could. Yeah, let's let you read yours, I guess. I'm tired.
Short and sweet. The Italian McDonald's has launched the Sweetie.
Mm.
It is literally Nutella slathered in between hamburger bun. That's it.
Well,
So,
What's it called?
Sweet.
the Sweetie.
Okay, the
S
Sweetie.
W-E-E-T-Y.
So it's Nutella
Yes.
on a hamburger bun.
Basically,
That's it.
yeah. So in Palmer's email, because I'll actually read it, it's literally just Nutella slapped on a hamburger bun. Can you guys suggest anything better for McDonald's international chefs to create? And what's the name of your suggestion?
Well, let's see. They're in Italy. How about a chicken parmesan?
Just a chicken McParm.
The chicken McParm. There you go.
From a couple of New York boys. That's
I
our
mean-
suggestion. Just a
All right?
chicken McParm.
How about you take a little tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese and put it on a hamburger bun?
And just call it a
Call
pizza.
it a pizza burger.
It's a pizza bun. I don't even need
A
the
pizza
burger.
bun.
Just
There you
like
go.
we used to make pizza bagels at the
There
store.
you go, a pizza bun.
I like
Did
it.
they have a McPizza at one point or try it?
Oh, I'm sure they tested it somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
sure that.
Yeah, I'm
made
sure you
some
got
kind
that.
of rounds.
You know, we got to ask Steph for updates like this because she's out in the Midwest where they do a lot
They
of
do
this
a lot
testing.
of that stuff. Yeah,
So we should ask her this kind of stuff.
yeah.
If she can come up with like things that they've tested in her area that like didn't make it.
Yeah. If there's some kind of crazy McRib fish.
Yeah, some kind of like
You know.
like crazy pizza
You
at
know.
Pizza Hut or
Yeah, just like when they slap shit together and stuff. And they're like,
I'm waiting for
the.
the. Steph's in the Southwest, so she's very likely to get the McTaco or something.
Yeah.
The McFish taco. It's all the rage on the food trucks. So we figured we'd try it.
It's true.
Like the Burger King
Absolutely.
hot dog. It's like, just leave it alone. Why are you
Yeah,
trying
it doesn't
so
work
hard?
that well with frozen cod.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's just not the same.
Frozen patty.
Well, I see hugs. I see somebody's getting some hugs.
Yep, kids are going to bed.
I'm a little
Speaking of
jealous.
hugs, can you guys keep putting them hearts up on Mixler, please?
Yeah, there you go. Spread the love, would you? Would you? Could you? So what we're gonna do, I think, this is just about the halfway point. Is we're gonna wrap this up. Hey, I see Beth. Oh my God, that's disturbing. What is she doing? That's kind of. That's if. Oh, there's your kids. Let me say hi to the kids. There you go. Hey. Well, no.
Hi, kiddies. How are you? Nice to see you.
Because I was just
You want
about to
some
get
candy,
raunchy.
kid?
I was just about to get raunchy, and then all of a sudden your daughter walked in frame, and I was like, "Oh, okay, children." Hey.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, thank God she couldn't hear me anyway."
Kids get to see you wearing a blood spattered T-shirt.
Well, I can only
Yeah.
see the headline. They
Yeah,
can't see the rest.
Negan
of it.
Sluggers with the blood spatter.
That's hilarious. I thought it said Reagan.
Well, those would be that's the name of the task force trying to take out Donald Trump.
Thank you
I
very
think.
much. Tell them thank you very much. Give them a kiss for me. All right, and then tell them to go to bed. They got school tomorrow. Even if they don't, just make their head snap. Like what? It's Sunday, Sunday school. All right. So we're gonna wrap up, and then in the after show, hopefully Ed will at least continue with the updates, even if he doesn't arrive safely. We'll find out about it.
Well, he's with Mom now.
I'm just
so
picturing
he
Ed.
should arrive safely.
That's true.
I'm just picturing Ed in the car with his mom eating Chinese food.
She's driving, and he's like, "I'm just so hungry, Mom. I'm just so hungry, Mom. I've been trapped on the freeway for an hour and a half. I'm just so hungry. I'm dying here." So, so as we start the wrap up, there you go. You Markhams and your tricks. Your crazy magic tricks. So I've gotten a little bit of a scene there. Grant turned the camera.
Yes.
I got to see the kids, and they're doing shenanigans. They're doing shenanigans on camera.
Well, that's what kids are good at, shenanigans.
You ain't kidding. So with that, again, let's segue out. We'll wrap up here, and we'll say
So you can reach Ed at
at his out on the road
at his house in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
I'm at Bob WTPC.
You're at Bob WTPC. We have Agent Palmer hanging out today. You can find Agent Palmer at agentpalmer.com. You can find him on Twitter at Agent Palmer. He makes it easy. Buddy Grant, he's instantaneously awesome. That's why he's at _Grants on the Twitters. You can find him on the 7 Days a Geek podcast. You can find his own show, The
Do not
Stranger
ask him-
Conversations, which may or may not be making. What is this piece? You guys are leaving?
It's the _Grants 2.
Oh, fair enough.
Just do not ask Grant for free money.
I guess not.
Sorry.
The Insta_Grants2.
That
There
is
it
where
is.
you can find my normal self.
Not the old account, I guess.
You can find my podcast, which is having a comeback. I'm coming off of hiatus.
Renaissance.
A resurgence.
2 years after I put it to sleep, I am waking it up.
Much like Young Justice.
Oh,
It's by popular demand. There has been an outcry, and the producers and creators of this entertainment have decided to give it another whirl.
yeah, without a doubt. I'm pretty excited about that. You can find me over there at The Stranger Cons, which is for the Stranger Conversations podcast, and you can find season 1 on thestrangerconversations.libsyn.com. Season 2 is coming back in 2017. I will not give a date as to when that will be, but it is happening in 2017, and I'm going to give you, Bill, the exclusive. There will be 13 episodes for the Stranger Conversations Season 2, and all 13 episodes will be released at one time.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, a Wicked Theory podcast exclusive about another podcast. These things happen. But,
you're going to be releasing it in binge format.
Yeah.
I will be releasing it in binge format. It will be actually, I've kind of retooled the show. I've had a lot of help from Bill, from Palmer, and some other people's behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And I've taken in a lot of criticisms and a lot of critiques, and I've tried to look at those
suggestions
and try to improve and make the show a little more, I guess, narrative driven and entertaining and interesting for the listener. Mm-hmm. But I did still hold on to the 10 questions, although I have 10 new questions that all 13 people will have to answer at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you strap in for that, all right? Because that's coming before you know it. It'll be here. Ooh, can't wait. A lot of people excited for that, Grant.
Thanks. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
A lot of people are, right?
Yeah. We've been giving him a gentle nudge.
I will tell you, there was no intention of ever bringing the show back, and not because I hate podcasting or I thought it was a terrible show. I just I really wasn't able to wrap my head around how I can make the show better and how I can improve upon some of those critiques. And then through conversations with yourself and a lot of other people, I was kind of inspired to do it. And then getting a lot of the feedback and having a lot of people ask me, please bring the show back. They wanted to hear, it's not about me. It's not about my story. It's about the people that they get to meet, the strangers that they get to meet and their life stories, and how the listeners get to connect with those people or disconnect. It's not like everybody agrees on everything, right? So that's what really pushed me over the edge.
I'm about to push you over the edge right fucking now, let me tell you. I'm fucking done with you. Well, not really. We have about another hour to go. All right, so folks, if you want to hear that, you can either stay right where you are on the Mixler, or you can, the only place to find it after that is a Patreon. All right? And, okay. I get it now. All right, so. All right, I should have interrupted you more often then. All right, so with that, folks, you can check us out here every week, and then stick around if you're in the chat room. We got more show coming. Bob, take us out of here.